سبيل مريح تنهد يا صاحي كي تستريح وبث الدعاء الخفي الصريح يسعك الفضاء الرحيم الفسيح. سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهدى يا صاحي كي تستريح وبث الدعاء الخفي الصريح يسعك الفضاء الرحيب الفسيح. سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهدى يا صاحي كي تستريح وبث الدعاء الخفي الصريح يسعك الفضاء الرحيب الفسيح. فبالله كم تستطب القروح ويبرأ جروح الكسير الجريح وينشط ذاك السقيم العليل وقد كان بالسقم دهرا طريق. تقال العثار العظام به ويغدو الهوى ككبش ذبيح بذكر الإله تطيب الحياة تسر أسارير وجه صبيح تسر أسارير وجه صبيح. سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهدى يا صاحي كي تستريح وبث الدعاء الخفي الصريح يسعك الفضاء الرحيب الفسيح. سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهدى يا صاحي كي تستريح وبث الدعاء الخفي الصريح يسعك الفضاء الرحيب الفسيح. تنحى يا حزن واهجر فؤادا توكل بجد بعزم فصيح فإني علمت بأنك نجوى ولبس خبيث مضل قبيح. تبختر ترجل بصوت وخيل فما لك في الأرض درب صحيح. إلى الله عدنا وبالله نذنا ليطوى زمان بائس شحيح ليطوى زمان بائس شحيح. سبيل الدموع.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, and welcome to another live from Islamic Oasis. Today, brothers and sisters, we have another amazing show for you, a show that for many of you may change your life, if not lives. This is the most amazing thing about Islam, dear brothers and sisters, that since the day one, from the time that Rasulullah was given the Prophet, he was given the message, it changed lives of people that the world thought it was never possible. Yani the Arab changed their lifestyle. Yani people, if you think about the people of yani the Quraysh, what Quraysh was known for, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, once they adopted, they went back to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they took the deen And subhanAllah, that Deen took them to the heights. It changed everything about them to the point that they left a legacy that the world will never ever forget. So today, alhamdulillah, we are here with our brother Abdul-Rahman or Abdul-Rahim. Both are same, inshallah. Someone that I respect, someone as I take as an older brother, someone that you can learn a lot from. Meaning, as you know, as the Prophet ﷺ said, experience is more than knowledge. Yani life can teach you lessons that sometimes books cannot, schools cannot, universities cannot. But the lessons of life, the university of life itself, if one learns from it, can change, as we said, lives of human beings. So today, we're going to have this discussion, inshallah, the journey back to Islam. And I'm going to ask our brother to just do an introduction, inshallah, about yani, what is Islam, Sheikh? Yani, and I'm asking you this because, you know, both of us are born Muslims.
Alhamdulillah.
Right? But you grew up in the city, you grew up in the inner city. That's like a total different country by itself.
Yeah.
Right? And the streets and real dunya.
Right.
And then to hold on to Islam is a miracle by itself. Right. So let's start the discussion there. What is this deen about, Sheikh? I mean, that's so special.
Well, Islam to me is a way of life. When I was young, my grandmother and mother raised me. When my mother and father separated, I went to go live with my grandmother, and my grandmother was an amazing Muslim. But she taught me about the unseen, about the power and the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so my journey as a kid, she used to make us, we would pray, we would go outside, we'd play with the other children, and sometimes we'd get into it, we'd have fights and so on and so forth. My grandmother used to call us and tell us to come in for prayer. So we'd come in for prayer. We never understood why we got to come in before at Maghrib. But it was the sunset. So we had to come in, we had to pray. We was like, Grandma, we just want to play with our friend. And she was like, always have a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as I grew up, I used to get into so many obstacles because I was young. And my grandmother used to tell me, you're different. You're different from the rest of the people that you associate with. And I never understood that until I got older. But the difference was that I was Muslim. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always watch over us. So I used to get into different fights. And one day I got my eye black and I came home and she said, what happened to you? I said, Grandmama, I got into a fight. She said, what happened to the other guy? I said, he beat me up. She said, go back. And this time, when you fight him, you say Allahu Akbar. So I go back and I was like, hey man, look what you did to my eye.
Disclaimer, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I go back, I hit him. Boom! He fell. I got on top of him, I beat him up. But I used Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and as I grew up, I got better at fighting. And so I didn't have to say Allahu Akbar. It was already innate inside me. So when all my friends, they didn't have Islam. So I learned and been around so many different people. And I had best friends. They used to steal dogs. Some used to sell drugs. Some was violent, but I socialized with everybody. And I was fascinated. It blew me away, the things that their parents allowed them to do. It was no structure. I came from a structured environment. It's Islam. We had to pray. We had to fast. We had to go to bed at a certain time. We had to wake up for Fajr, so on and so forth. So when I went into the streets, it was a whole different ball game. And so I was fascinated. So I wanted a piece of that action. So my mother used to always try to come and get down on me, like, what are you doing? You got to go home. You got to do this. So as I grew up, I started hanging out with guys older than me. And they was just...
Why is that, Sheikh? I mean, I'm just...
searching for identity.
Yeah, that's the thing, because, you know, it seems like... I mean, that's a natural thing to do, which I understand. But, you know, is that why? Because searching for... I mean, you almost...
I was Muslim, but my friends wasn't. And the environment wasn't. We was just Islam in this one little house. And everybody around, they knew my grandma was Muslim. They knew my family was Muslim. But the whole entire community, they used to, like, what's your name? They used to kind of couldn't say our names correctly. Your name Rahim or Rahim. They couldn't say it because I guess they didn't know how. So, you know, they never understood, like, Islamic names and so on and so forth. So Sometimes they make fun of us. You know what I mean? So we was just like foreign in this environment. But as we grew older, you know, we started to adapt to our
what part of the
surroundings.
city have you talking about?
Inglewood, back of the yards area, the worst part of the city.
So you know Inglewood.
I know everything. I grew up around it my whole entire life.
So Inglewood means
From 51st all the way to 79th, from the expressway all the way back to Ashland. It's like the worst place of the city.
So, you said something interesting. You said your grandma told you, say Allahu Akbar and do the work.
Yeah, she said Allahu Akbar, always.
So, of course, that's not just one fight in life.
Right.
What did that teach you?
Well, I always...
Okay. When I hear that story,
right.
So I hear you telling me that your grandma told you, look, once you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is nothing that is not achievable.
That's right.
That's what I got from what you just said.
Right.
She told you, go back and say Allahu Akbar and take care of business.
That's right.
So how did that change, that your grandma saying that?
Well, Islam always been in my heart because my grandmother gave it to me with love. You know, when we used to get through saying our prayers, I don't know if she made these songs up, but we used to have to say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar as little kids. And I taught the same things to my children after prayer. And she was always say to me, you have to have a relationship with the master. You have to, and years and years later, all of this starts to come and play. I never understood it. I always knew when I was in a sticky situation, call on Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. And so Allah always made a way for me. But that I didn't develop that until later on. But I went through so many trials and tribulations. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always had his hand on me. He always was watching. Imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guiding me through my thoughts and what I see and what I hear, and still directing me towards the Deen, still got me loving him, because this is my upbringing. Like certain people raised in different religions and they family, they crusade that. And it's the same thing as Islam. You to believe in Allah, you have to first get it from somebody with love. And that woman was an amazing human being. And she didn't play. When it came down to Allah, man, we could be watching the program. We'd be watching TV and a prayer come on. My grandma would cut the TV off and we instantly has to pray. Everything about us was structured in Islam. Even my mother loved Allah to the day she died. And so that... How
old was she when she passed away?
My mother died at 61. But that went inside me. You see what I'm saying? And now, as an adult, I understand the importance of it. You would never understand the greatness of Allah until you test it. And I've been tested so many times. So as I'm growing up in the Dunya, and my friends are all completely savages. You know what I mean? They just
what
like,
does that mean, man?
Man, look,
what they see is movies.
They sold drugs, they gang bang, they slept around with women, everything that wasn't in my household, they was exposed to. They smoked weed, they did drugs, they sold drugs, the whole kit and caboodle. And coming from a structured environment, you like, wow, y'all doing it, parties all the time, you know what I mean, staying out all night, doing the things that a person longed for because it was glorified in the community. But that part, that was the destruction part. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he guided me out of that. You see what I'm saying? I remember when I was maybe 12 or 13, I got locked up. I went to jail.
13 years old?
Yeah, 13 years old. I was in Adi home. I stayed there
you
for
were
like...
what? You were 8th grade? 7th grade?
13, maybe 8th, maybe 8th. Yeah, maybe 7th, maybe 8th, 11th, something like that. I can't remember. Maybe, I had to be maybe 12 or 13. It's around that time. And I stayed in the Adi home so long. And that's when I used to start. I was calling on Allah. And I got into it with this guy, man. And
how long were you there?
I think I was there for like 6-7 months. It was a long time because I was in and out of jail. How
many times have you been in jail?
In jail as a youth, maybe my whole youth. I was bad. I was into everything. I socialized with everybody. And I remember one time my mother and grandmama came and saw me. And just for them walking in, it broke my heart. And I was like, to see them cry and break down. And it was like, you Muslim and you have no place here. And I used to see them when they walked in, it broke my heart. I didn't want to cry in front of them because I didn't want to seem weak because I got to go back to these guys.
You don't want them to see you weak. You're 13 years old.
Yeah, but
But see, that's a 13-year-old in that situation doesn't want to cry. I mean, that's a lot of strength, though. I don't want to,
right,
you know,
right,
obviously you should not have done it. But
right.
why is that?
It have made me look weak. You know what I mean? Because I didn't cry
And you
because
can't be weak in that
no,
environment.
you couldn't be weak because I was fighting every day. You know what I mean? I was fighting every day. I had an image. I was from a certain gang, so I had to represent that. And everybody looked for me for answers. And that's has been my whole entire life. You know what I mean? So whenever I got involved with anything, I took the leadership on it, whatever it
So
was.
you have to look tough means what? I'll give you an example.
To be tough.
I was at airport one time. So this guy, he's from, because, I go in out of some, these war zones sometimes. One police officer told me, he said, they had a picture of mine in one of the passports.
Right,
He said, this can't be you.
right,
I said, what you mean, man? This is me.
right,
He said, this looks crazy. Then he goes, well, if you're going to go to this environment, you better look like this. I understand why you look like this.
right,
Right? If not, no one takes you seriously.
right.
You can't look like a kid. But you were a kid.
Yeah,
And
but
you are in this environment.
in a man's environment. So you become a shark or become a sheep. And so I had to toughen up. I couldn't let them, just for them just coming in there and seeing me in these conditions. Because I know they checked my grandmother. They checked my mother. She used to wear the crescent star. She was, in hijab and everything. And that was kind of insulting for them to go through that. And to come see me, that kind of broke my heart. So I knew when I get out of jail, I would never, ever come back. So I became smarter. And I knew to never get caught. And yeah, but
Keep doing what you're doing, but
Yeah.
just get smart.
yeah, but now by me being an adult, it wasn't me being smart. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watching over me through all the trials and tribulations. So when from the Inglewood area, for me coming, then I moved to the north side, and it was just like, whoa, a whole different world.
Why is that? I mean, it's only 1 hour away.
Well, it's a different world because everything is faster. Everything is faster. Everybody's a
Faster
little more
here,
educated.
faster there.
Yeah,
Faster
it's
there.
faster here. Out there, it's slow. It's like game conscious. Everything about like on the south side of Chicago or the west side, everybody is like they street educated and uneducated in the academic level, in the academic environment. So it's like guys, man, they like scholars out there. You know what I mean? They hustlers, drug dealers, they pimps, whatever it is, whatever you know what I mean, they focus on. Yeah, it's just what it is. So that's what we were surrounded by. So you had to either adapt to that or get rolled over. I saw so many of my friends killed, and I just saw some of them, man, we was young, some of them went to jail for the rest of their life. And I was like, and I used to be with these people every day, and I knew the reason why I didn't go to jail is only because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the only reason. I've been shot, I've been stabbed, I've been beaten in the head with bats, and it's only because Allah.
You ever ended up in a hospital?
Yeah, hospital, everything, because the life I lived. So I wasn't a nice guy. You know what I mean? Because you have to adapt these concepts to be strong. So you take it's like an eye for an eye. You take the bumps and the bruises on your path. So when I was exposed to all these things, I used to have a moment of clarity. And every time I used to go see my grandmother, she used to always tell me, so Rahim, what you doing? I used to always make fun. I used to be like, oh, grandmama, it's hard on the black man. She said, boy, stop playing with me. So she used to always say that. She used to be on me. She was like, if you forget this thing or your children forget this thing, it's because of you, because you're not on the path, because you're not, and Allah's going to be upset with you. And she used to always tell me that. And one day I was going through her stuff, and she went to Hajj, and she was praying for me. And I saw that wrote in the book, man, and it just brought tears to my eye. Because, man, I remember one time we was young, the houses on the side of her caught a fire, and they burned to a cinder. And my grandmama's house was a frame house. And the fireman said, I just want to meet you. She was like, why? She's like, because you must be a God-fearing person, because the rest of these houses burned to a cinder. And it didn't touch your house. And they was amazed by that. And she used to have Bismillah all outside, and everybody knew what she stood for. And I used to be like, man, this woman is intelligent. She Muslim, everybody respect her. And that's because she's conscious of Allah. She know what her creator has put her here for, only to worship him. And she impart that to us, my whole entire family.
When did you say, okay, enough is enough?
when she died. When she died in 2005, I was still selling drugs. I was still doing chaos. And when she died, and I knew because I read those letters, and I always thought she can't pray for me no more. I got to get on this Deen. I got to learn this, and I stopped everything. I had got out of jail. I got locked up for distribution of a dangerous drug, and I bonded out. And my mother was a miraculous woman too. She gave me this Bukhari. She gave me Bukhari. She gave me this Hadith book, and I read the whole book, page to page, and I was intrigued. So I was like, so I read it again.
Let me ask you about this, because really, every time I hear brothers who've been in prison, they say no matter what book they get in their hand, they read it page to page, cover to cover.
Master.
Right? Let me ask you, like on a social level here, right? If you look at the African Americans, I mean, why is it that the kind of brains the African Americans have, like, where you can just read page to page, cover to cover, right? Bukhari is not like 2 pages,
right?
Right?
Yeah.
And you see other brothers that they can remember pages, that can give you quotes from line to line.
Alhamdulillah.
Why do you think, though, that, like, is it systematically those brains have been kept behind?
Well, I don't think it's been kept behind. It's the exposure part. Most brothers that I know find the Deen is they find it in jail.
No, but I'm saying, yeah, they find it in jail. But I'm saying, why is it that they have to go to jail to find it? Why is it
because
that
it's not exposed in a. It's not.
Can you go into that a little bit more? What is it that's missing, that needs to be there, so that these minds can be exposed
Can
to?
develop
There's geniuses out there.
Well, it comes from the parents. You exposed to what your parents is, what your parents are. If you don't grow out of that and find the truth, if you grew up in a Christian house or a Buddhist house or whatever it is, that's what you're gonna be. If you on a block, whatever this block is, that's what gang you're gonna be in. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with the black community. If it's not exposed, you don't see when I was growing up, there was no Muslims in our community. We was the only Muslims. The only time we socialized with Muslims was when we went to the masjid on 73rd in Stony Island. Outside of that, and we was kids, we used to love to go.
73rd Stony Island. This is
Washington Muhammad community. Only time we used to love. We as kids, we used to love to go over there because the Muslim sisters used to sell these big old cookies, man. These cookies, they was like huge for like 50 cents. So I used to run up to my uncle, man, and be like, one uncle, he used to give me 50 cents. My other uncle, he used to pull out a knot roll, count all this money, put it back in his pocket, and then give us a quarter. And we used to go running. When we went to the masjid on Sundays, they used to have these cookies, and we used to love it. We used to play with Muhammad Ali, children.
Really?
Yeah, man, we had a ball, man. When far as I can remember. So
did you meet him out there?
Yeah, I saw him. He used to be on 47th Street. I used to hug my old man. He used to be like, they go, champ, go give him a hug. I run up and hug him. Yeah, so that's just our upbringing. But that was the only time we was exposed to other Muslims. You know what I mean? It was like we was just dropped in the community. We was like aliens. You know what I mean? Outside of my grandmama and my family, there was no Muslims. Zero. You know what I mean? Every block I went on, it was the same, straight Dunya. I went to every house. It was just different. So that was the exposure. It wasn't any. So only time, that's why when we went into the streets, it was so fun because, man, grandma don't see us. Mama don't see us. So we can do whatever we want. You know what I mean? And then just later on, things started to change because things started to get a little serious. You know what I mean? With guys getting killed, going to jail, so on and so forth. And Allah spared me. He spared me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept me safe all these years. I remember I had got locked up for a murder. And I was in the lockup. And I was chained. Yeah, I was chained up to the wall. And I was just
talking like it's like
it's just life, man. It was just life for the black man. You know what I mean? And I was just thinking to myself, man, why am I here? Why am I here, man? Everything I'm doing is wrong. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I got to do something different. And Allah opened the door. Get out of that. Got locked up for a robbery. I stayed in the county for like a month. Man, all the charges is dropped. I had drug cases. I had, man, it was just piled on top of everything in the last $1. And hey, my friends just say, man, I remember we used to run from the police. My friends used to chase me because they knew I was gonna get away. And they used to say, man, why you always get away? And they used to think I was intelligent. It was just because Allah blessed me. He always blessed me. He always watched over me. And when she died, I knew I had to change my life. And I started going to the masjid on 47, and I started learning about the
47
Deen. No. 47 in Woodlawn. Masjid. No, what is it? Masjid. I forgot the name.
I remember.
Yeah, but I went to 47. 47 in Woodlawn. Imam Omar. So I started going there, started learning the Deen, started getting close to the Muslims, and I used to.
But there were not that many masajid either. There were not that many mosques
That I knew of. I didn't. Well, I knew the Deen Muhammad community, and they out there.
To today,
I didn't really care about no more. I just went to the ones that I was familiar with. So I went to the one on 47 in Woodlawn, and that was it. And I stayed there for years and trying to develop myself in the Deen and learning, doing the things that I need to do. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed my life. And now I'm an advocate. I talk to my children about it. I talk to my family. Hey, the greatness of Allah. Find something. Say your prayers. Find something that only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know about, and just do it consistently. You know what I mean? Have Allah to love you. Become the wali of Allah. And people don't really understand that, man. The greatness of Allah, and when He's guiding you and directing you, and how it can say it. And I look at it like this. Even my friends, man, I say, man, these guys must be the worst people. The worst people. I mean, people feared these guys, man. They feared us. We was just like young guys, and Allah takes the worst people and make them the best. He transformed them overnight, man. He transformed them. When Allah wants something good for you, He direct you to Islam.
Sheikh, what would it take for Islam to grow in the inner city? It's growing, of course. It is already there. It's growing, but meaning
to spread it better.
To see the kind of thing that you're saying. Look, I'm hearing you, but I'm hearing a lot more than what you're saying. Right. I mean, because you like I'm as I said. Look, I'm looking at the work ethic is there. The push to learn is there, but lack of resources. Right. You're saying when you said I just didn't know Muslims. Whatever I knew is what I knew. Right.
That was it.
So, what whatever you've been through already, right? What would be the role of the Muslims
for the community,
the Muslim community as a whole? I mean, don't look at it as North and South and
right.
What would be the role of the Muslim community? What advice you would give them?
Well, we have to
interact. And the potential in the area.
Right. Well, we have to interact. We have to interact with the people. We have to help the women, because most Afro-American women, they probably single. You know what I mean? They got to be. We have to help them raising their children. And if they see these things, it may not be the mother or the father, it be the children, because they can say, man, I remember this Muslim man that was good to me when I was little. I remember this Muslim woman that fed us. And, we just got to interact in the cities. You know what I mean? When we was growing up, we used to have certain stores that they was like we used to call them Arabs, because they was the ones that sold the liquor, and they was the ones that had sex with the community. And then it was the Muslims. It was the Muslim people that stood up for Islam, and they went out. And when people saw them, they thought, man, these people look weird in the community. You know what I mean? So it was hard they was giving a good message, but they didn't understand it because they wasn't on that level. Because most people in these urban areas, they drink, they smoke, and they go to these stores with the guys they call the Arabs, and they they give them credit, they battling, and so on and so forth, like food stamps and so on and so. So they interact with them, so they tend to rally behind them. You see what I'm saying? So we as a Muslim community, if we can engage better with children and interacting with people, that'll make people come to the Deen, man. You know what I mean? And then a lot of times, man, I know for a fact people just really don't care. You know what I mean? So you can't, if you talk to 10, you may reach 2.
That's I mean, look, I understand the guidance is the hand of Allah, but it just I'm looking at your story and I'm saying that, look, it seems like there are, there are, it's like almost they create problems that people such as like you, right? Who can read the whole Bukhari but it seems like constantly that chance is taken away from the people in the inner city.
It's a possibility, yeah.
I mean, how many libraries are there in the inner city?
Man, it's maybe it's a few libraries, but brothers don't really gravitate to that. They gravitate to finances, money.
Fast
money. I mean, it's just
money?
it's just I mean trying to.
I mean, is it that jobs? Is it that fast money? It's so much money.
Well, it's image. When I was growing up, it was all about image, man. What you have, you had a car, you had girls, you had money. That's what people gravitate to. They don't really gravitate to going to school. We thought them was lames. When people went to school and went off to college, yeah, it'd change their life in the long run, but you couldn't see the process or the progress. You didn't see it. You see what I'm saying? This guy had more money than the person went in school. You see what I'm saying? So what could you tell me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the whole situation. So when I remember when I first bought my car, I was 17 years old, and it was a nice car. You know what I mean? I got all the girls I had, and people respected me. I had my own money. You see what I'm saying? But I couldn't come around my family with that stuff. They didn't want to see that. So I had to dumb down, take everything out, act like I ain't had no car. When I was in front of my mother or my grandmother, I used to act like I was a lame, but they knew. My grandmama always knew what type of person I was. And she used to always just grill me. Like, what are you doing? You know, are you saying your prayers? And the love, when she used to say something to me, it was impactful. So what we have to do as a Muslim community, we have to interact a little better, man. You know, we're not so strangers. We got to meet people, man, greet them, show them the way like we do Islam. We Assalamu alaikum, brother. Hey, brother, hey, sister, how y'all doing?
Let me ask you this. When you come, let's say you said, look, you came here, north side is different than let's say the inner city. Do you see the Muslims in the north side, in this area, do you see that they are doing their job? Or do you see that, do they look at you as, strangers?
I'm a stranger, yeah. It's alienated. It's like, why? I don't know. It's so many different cultures.
You gotta explain that to me. Why?
Well, it's so many different cultures.
You're born Muslim. You're not like, you just became Muslim today. Yeah,
because, well, in this environment, if you're not Arab, they don't even, it's like I'm a lot of times they don't accept you. No, it's the truth. You go, and brothers will give you you get straight negativity, and you're like, man, what's this my problem? Then you start getting that Dunya concept, like, hey.
Give me an example of negativity.
Well, you'll salam, they won't salam you back, or they'll think that they know more Islam than you, or, you know what I mean? It'd be, super arrogance. And you'd be like, man, what's this guy talking? And I saw some guys one time, the last time I was here, we was in Dunkin' Donuts. Right. And they was Muslim. I was Assalamu alaikum, brother. They ain't say nothing. So I was like, oh, okay, that's what y'all on. But I said, brother, you didn't salam me back, but you got your hands on your hip. That's what women do. And so when I put him on blast, because he knew I wasn't playing with him, Assalamu alaikum. Then we started talking, and he did it again. I said, look at you doing it again. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I see what you want. I understand your energy, and I'm gonna get on your level. You see what I'm saying? Because this Islam. How dare you not salam me back?
See, that's the thing. Do you think that African Americans, do you think that they should be more aggressive in the Muslim community? Because look, the reality is that if you look at the Muslim community, majority of the Muslims who are born and raised here are African Americans.
Yeah,
it's
really.
Not right. I mean, so, and on the top of that, Islam in this country will actually be protected by African Americans. Yeah. I can't see anybody else.
It's true.
Anybody having the guts or the bravery or the courage or the I don't have it, right? That to have and the image that is needed to protect Islam.
Well, we got to,
because I was saying, for instance, but see, do you think, what I'm asking is that, do you think that the African Americans, do they, because it could be out of just humbleness, that, the brothers are just humble. But do you think it's time to come out of that humbleness?
Out of that shell,
and say, what do you
We got to take the lead. We got to take the lead. Of course.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So what do we do to get that?
Create more imams. We have to fund these communities. Even with the Muslims and sisters in the Black community, we have to educate more imams. That's what's lacking in the Black community. See, we can't focus. We need leaders. We can't focus on We can't focus on like trying to integrate certain people. We have to build other leaders. And once we build these leaders up, then they'll take the initiative because every generation is stronger than the last generation. And so that's what has to happen. That's what's not happening. Majority of these imams on the south side was because Warisdeen Muhammad pushed them. You see what I'm saying? But who's doing that now? You know what I mean? Where's the imams? Where's the people from the community coming back to the community with the people to uplift the community? That's what's missing. You see what I'm saying?
Why is that? I mean, why?
Finances, no one wants to invest. No one wants to invest. You see what I'm saying? No one wants to invest in the people. You know, we don't even have a black Muslim school on the south side.
I got a call today. Somebody called me and they were saying, "Oh, can you come and give a talk regarding the refugee situation in this country? Oh, 8,000, 80,000, whatever people have come here, and we got to figure out how to help them." But I don't hear the same thing where a Muslim will call me and say, "Hey, we have such a large Muslim population, African American population, that is the roots of Islam in this country. We got to figure out a way to help them."
Right.
We got to figure out to develop. We got to just the way. What do we need to do that? I'm not saying don't help the refugees.
Right.
Right. I'm not saying that.
Right. Alhamdulillah.
Right. But the thing is, why isn't that same type of care is given to say, how do we develop one of the most, probably the toughest, the roughest, the reason why Islam will grow in this country? Why are we not giving them and standing with them and giving them the backbone? What do we need to do that? I need you to be straight like that.
We need an Islamic institution on the south side. We need a system to create more thinkers. You see what I'm saying? We need people to teach the Deen to the Muslims that's there. You see what I'm saying? Because why they got to go to overseas to learn the Book of Allah, or it's a masjid called Masjid Farouk. They go to Africa to become Hafiz. Why we don't have this set up here? You see what I'm saying? It don't take a group of people, just take one and let that message transform the people. Because, even now with all this chaos going on, no one's even thinking about trying to develop this. Look, I go to all the masjids and I don't see the young Hafiz. I don't see that. You see what I'm saying? And everybody, you ask a brother, man, how long you been? Man, I've been Muslim all my life. But your son go to a regular school. You see what I'm saying? And what's being taught there is foolishness. You see what I'm saying? Lesbianism, homosexuality. So Islam is just like me saying it to my kids. Man, become a Muslim, say your prayers. But when they go into the world, it's all Dunya. And so some of it is stick and some of it's not going to stick. You see what I'm saying? So after so long, the father, because one thing I've known by me just being in the Deen as an adult, a lot of brothers, man, they hold to the rope of Allah. And I know a lot of sisters that don't. You know what I mean? The brothers be like, brother, look, sister, they be trying to establish it, but they, based on their finances, sometimes the women make more finances than them. You see what I'm saying? So the message, then if the father, man, you got to pray, you got to do these things, the kid rebel against that. You know what I mean? Because once the mama around them, she do whatever. And it's a lot of families like that where a brother Muslim and the wife is not Muslim, or the wife will be Muslim, the father is not Muslim. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of that struggle going on too, because you're not meeting Muslims. You see what I'm saying? You're not going into a Muslim community, picking a wife, picking a husband. So we have to build an institution or a masjid that can create this atmosphere. You see what I'm saying? So you come here, you come to a masjid, a place like this, you can find Islamic teaching. Outside, it's just Jummah. Out south is Jummah. At the Jummah, that's it.
That's it. There's no other.
That's it. No interacting. And then where the women at? When we was growing up, as kids, I couldn't wait to get to the masjid to get them cookies. Where's the women? You see what I'm saying? Where's the family? And I'm just saying, when I'm a little kid, man, look, when I was a kid, we used to run through the masjid. We had a ball.
Yeah, you're saying that, look, there was a place for us.
It was a place that we had fun. It was loved. We was loved. Only time we had to shut it down when it's time to pray. But man, we used to run through the masjid and have fun when we was little.
I make sure you get a cookie before you go.
Yeah. Oh man. when you went outside, whenever either Jummah was over or you interact with the people, that's when you start gathering, getting food and socializing, meeting people and all. That's what's missing, man. I'm telling you, that's what's missing. And our children, they don't see that. When they go to school, it's straight Dunya. You know,
What percentage of
man,
what-
maybe 80%.
Let me ask you this: what percentage of, let's say, so many, now we have so many family brothers becoming Muslim or are Muslim? What percentage of children, I mean, of the brothers who are Muslims in the inner city stay Muslim?
They Muslims, our brothers, they stay. I don't see nobody backsliding. I don't see that. Maybe they children due to separation from the mother and father, but brothers
Deen
don't.
Islam-
Yeah, brothers don't drop the Deen, man. They
No, I
definitely-
know that, but I'm saying the children. I mean, because I'm thinking future.
The children, well, they may sway. Like I did. I went to the Dunya, came back to
But
the
they're
Deen.
Muslims.
Yeah, but they Muslims. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Islam is embedded in your heart once it's there. From a baby on up, I don't see too many people backslide. I don't see none of that. I don't see none of that going on. I see a brother when I was growing up, we'd be Muslims and then we'd go into the Dunya. Then whatever it took to get us back there, we got there.
Here's the question. So, within, let's say that the Arab, the Indian, this community here, right?
Right.
You have a lot of youth who think the lifestyle that you abandon
Right.
is the lifestyle to look forward to.
No, it'll
Right?
destroy
No,
you.
so here's the thing. So you have Muslims who have the resources, who have the big masajid, who have a masjid every block. Right? I mean, if you look at this neighborhood right here, you probably got 50 masjids.
Right.
Masjid
Right.
here, Masjid Darus Salam,
Right.
Masjid so and so, Masjid so and so. You have a community that have all the resources, all the things that you need, and
No unity.
And you have, forget unity is the last thing to talk about, but you have those youth who have everything, who are leaving Islam, who are, and that's why I was asking. I mean, every single one of us are worried. Will our children's children will they be Muslim? I mean, I talked to somebody yesterday. When the brother was telling me, he said, brother, I do so much sadaqah jariyah. Sadaqah jariyah meaning, he's and you know why he said? He says, because I don't believe, even though I have children, but I don't believe that my children will be in the deen to continue to make dua for me. So I'm doing sadaqah jariyah so that maybe whatever the sadaqah jariyah that I do, that those people will make dua for me. But they have all the resources in the world.
Right.
So, but what you're telling me is that in an area where you don't have resources, this is the situation. You have an area where you have resources, this is the situation. So how do we handle this?
But look at when I say unity, everybody going in their own different directions. You just said it's 50 different masjids, and they don't even get along.
They don't get along.
That's why. So how could you tell me to be a better Muslim and you can't even talk to your neighbor? What's the outlook? Everybody doing their own thing. You see what I'm saying? And that's the separation. What did the Sahabas do? They married each other kids off. They married each other. They loved each other. A lot of that not going on. And I said this to my own man. I said, man, you've been a Muslim all these years, man. Why you didn't handpick a woman for one of your sons? Somebody that you knew and brought your son and married them. So they can have a good upbringing or a good relationship with a woman. We had to go find ours in the Dunya. You see what I'm saying? And give them dawah. You see what I'm saying?
See, if you do that now, the girls here think that's oppressive. I will choose whatever.
Nah, that's not true. That's not true. It's a lot of women that take the Deen. It's a lot of women that don't. I mean, it happens, brother. So you're gonna always hear that negativity because that's everywhere. But it's some people that find the Deen and it transform their life.
Oh, of course.
You see what I'm saying? And they like, man, thank you, Allah. Thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. You see what I'm saying? And it's a lot of people that backslide because of their family. See, a lot of people, when they got a Christian family or whatever family it is, they'll take that approach. You see what I'm saying? But once Islam is embedded in your life and your heart, you're going to gravitate to it, man. You don't have a choice because you know what you're praying to. You know what you're praying for. You see what I'm saying? And so you're like, man, I could talk directly to Allah. All I got to do is just make dua. Come on, man. You can't, that don't get no better than that. You know what I mean? That don't get no better than that. And so you want to teach your children and the people that you know the greatness of Allah as a wajah. And so whatever it is, you want to make it beautiful. When I read the stories to my children about the prophets, and they be mesmerized because they got to hear. Where they going to hear from? If they don't hear from their mother, they got to hear from me. You see what I'm saying? And so if out of 5 of them or 4 of them, one of them, because I ask them all the time, I say, so which one of y'all gonna carry the flag? So if I die, something happened to me, y'all gonna drop the ball? And my daughter be like, no, I am. I say, what? I say, so, but how? I got to wake you up for prayer. I say, prayer, Allah says prayer is better than sleep, but that's the unseen. You don't see it. Sleep feel good. You see that. You see what I'm saying? So she'd be like, yeah, that's the unseen, but this is better. This is better for us, Daddy. And so they do these things, and you just got to implement it, man, to the best of your ability with love, no matter all the trials and tribulations, because that's going to be there. You know, it's even now, Halloween coming up. So, you know, the kids, they see that when we was growing up, we didn't engage in none of that nonsense. You know what I mean?
I like that. You call it nonsense.
Yeah, we didn't, man.
But
we
you
didn't
have Muslim communities, kids running around acting like they lost their,
man,
their minds.
Hey, that's based on the parents, man, because the parents being engaging in it. You see what I'm saying? If
It's
we
just
didn't,
what I'm hearing from you, look, man, especially the immigrant community like this, it's
Right.
like you're hearing these people are dying to become like
Wow.
like the garbage that's out there, right?
Right.
They're dying. Like they want their children to be there. They're sending their kids to this mess, and then you hear the kind of
Destroying
mess
them.
that
Destroying them.
with their own hands.
destroying
With their
them.
own hands.
And-
You're
and-
telling me that no, we gotta stop them from that nonsense.
Well,
and
we
you're
ha-
born and raised here. You are pure American as American be.
Yeah. Well, you have to first see. We don't when Ramadan. We supposed to glorify Ramadan. 3 days of gift. We got to make Ramadan the biggest time of the year. You see what I'm saying? We got to go beyond a call of duty. See, we have to give them a something they can gravitate
Look
to.
forward to it.
Yeah, man. When it comes, we supposed to have a big feast. We supposed to give gifts out for 3 days. We supposed to eat it. So that Ramadan come, okay, we have a little feast or whatever. That's it. Everybody is back to normal. We don't glorify what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us to love and make big. So that would satisfy that. You see what I'm saying? That would satisfy that. Everything is so strict and so this. Yeah, why we stay away from this stuff? Because it's all based around the shaitan. It ain't because we being mean to our kids. We don't want our kids learning and loving something that they over there casting spells or celebrating Christmas and this Nimrod and his mother, and he had a baby with his mother and all that foolishness. We don't got time for that. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, in the God thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Come on, man. A baby God. Come on, man. Come on. That's heavy, y'all. That's heavy. So, you know, to even understand that, what message that are you expressing to your children and about the real stuff? Yeah. And my daughter said to me one time, she was little. I said, she said, Daddy, I want to celebrate Christmas. I said, why? She said, I want to celebrate Christmas.
It's the lights.
I said, okay. Everybody hear this. She want to celebrate Christmas. I said, okay, this baby want to celebrate Christmas, so we're gonna allow that to happen. Okay, she gonna celebrate Christmas, but remember, Christmas is 1 day of the week. I give you everything I got every day, whatever you want. So don't I get you everything? You ask me for something, I'm gonna go get it. Right? So that's what? All through the year, right? So I'm not gonna buy you nothing else. I'm gonna wait to Christmas and look out for you. And everybody else gonna continue on their path. She was like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Yeah. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't glorify something, they glorify Allah.
I mean, so you're saying, the kids, it's not that the kids understand what this is.
You have to
All
break
they're
it down,
looking at
man. You have to break it
these
down.
gifts, and they're looking at these things, and they're saying, I want that.
And a lot of times parents are selfish. You know, they'll go do whatever they want. Kid ask, no, you can't have that. Why? My kids asked me for my daughter. She was struggling. She was struggling with her school things and going, and I had to tell her, I said, you're Muslim. There's nothing you can't do. You do you first of all, and you my child. So you are the most intelligent person I know. You're just not applying yourself. And she was like, really? And I was like, you know, if your teacher say something bad about you, first of all, I'm gonna be upset, because how dare you talk to this person like that? But is she right? Because you didn't apply yourself? Because if she now, I'm gonna go cuss her out. I'm gonna go give her a piece of my mind. And she was like, I haven't been trying. I said, oh, so what she's saying is true, huh? And why you haven't been trying? So she started getting straight A's. She started crying. I feel so emotional. Daddy said something good to me. We have to build up who they are. You know, a child figure her character, who she is at 7 years old. We have to develop that, and we have to develop it with the Deen. We have to tell these stories, man. These beautiful stories that's here for us to navigate to. Because when you come on TV, that's all you see is their stories and their lifestyles. And so you're going to gravitate to that.
Yeah, of course. It's human nature.
Yeah, but you got to cut it off. You got to create your own lifestyle. If you're going to be a Muslim,
that you put them in, I mean, it's natural. You're giving them everything that's out there, and then you don't expect them to be effective.
That's right. But if you give it to them, if your kid wants something and they achieve it and you go buy it and you look out for them, when Christmas came in my house, it didn't mean anything to me because my mother and grandma would buy me everything I ever wanted. So it never meant nothing to me. I understood why we didn't celebrate it. When Halloween, before it even got here, we already had candy or whatever. So I never even wanted it. You see what I'm saying? I used to like Halloween just to throw eggs at people. You know what I mean? That's what we used to do. We used to throw eggs at everybody and have fun like that. But trick-or-treating and all that foolishness, we never engaged in that. Easter and all that stuff, we never engaged because we wasn't raised like that. And we knew the significance of it. You see, we knew why we didn't do it. And that's another thing. Education is everything. The more you know, the more you can accomplish. You see, and that's what's not happening. And even in the Muslim world, if we establish a relationship with everybody and we engaging with certain imams and certain brothers and certain sisters, and I really think, the women has to be at the masjids. You know what I mean? The women and the kids, because that's the backbone, man. The kids, the women making, if it's just a one Sunday every month, and the families just come and interact, that's what's missing in these communities, man. You see what I'm saying?
See, here's the thing. So now we have some questions. There's a lot that has been said. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of questions here. So I'm going to start asking you a few questions. So one of the questions is, how can Muslims reach out to African Americans or Black Americans on the South Side?
Get to know them. Go out there and just interact.
It's kind of weird, man. I mean, that we are talking in such a, I don't know why that's even a question. I mean, why are we?
Well, a lot of people are timid. They don't want to walk up and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Or "What's your name, brother?" Or find something in common. So you mean to tell me we can't relate to nothing? We Muslims, first of all.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, look, this is a problem, right? I mean, you are Muslim, I'm Muslim, right? We believe in Allah Azza wa Jal. We understand that. I mean, is it?
If you would have never,
it's almost like racism.
Yeah, but
I understand they're not being racist, but is it
by you coming to the South Side, interacting with the people? That's how you. I would have never met you if you would have never came to the South Side or never met Hassan. I probably would have never met you. You see what I'm saying? By you interacting and want to interact. You see what I'm saying? Just vice versa. Even with if the people on the South Side and out West only go to certain masjids, maybe brothers need to come invite them. Come invite families. Have a cookout, have something. We have to interact with people. That's what's not happening.
Yeah, we got to put that in there. We need to have a cookout.
Yeah, man. If you don't interact with
people, here's the cookout. We need to work.
Yeah, you're gonna find
Hassan over there listening. We need a cookout, bro.
Man,
all right, we got to set that up.
Look, if you go on the South Side and don't know Hassan, hey, brother, you don't know greatness. You don't know greatness, man. If you in this city and don't know brother Hassan, you don't know greatness.
Of course, I agree with that.
And that's just what that is. So you have to first want to take the initiative. You see what I'm saying?
I understand. It's just that I'm trying to figure out, why have Muslims become this way, right? Yeah, subhanAllah, it's amazing what Allah has given us and the kind of community that Allah has given us. People would die to have community that we have. Yeah. It's just that we become so selfish and we become so only worried about ourselves that we're forgetting that subhanAllah, if we do the work that Allah is asking us to do, actually we would achieve things that, the world would, just
gravitate to. Well,
with the kind of colors we have, the kind of tongues we have, the amount of, the differences, and the understanding, education backgrounds, people, we just don't utilize any of this, man.
Well, we got to stop.
Everybody's living in their little cocoons.
Yeah.
And it's killing us.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But Allah is doing His work as well. So, you know what I mean? Muslims are becoming Muslim. People are becoming Muslims every day. Allah scans the heart and He creates the Muslims, but we have to do a little more dawah and a little more interacting with the people. And that's what's not happening. Even the brothers from the South Side need to come here. But at the Jummah, where we go? It's back to business. You see what I'm saying? Okay, how do we have this type of interacting? How are we going to interact with the people if after we go to Juma and after Juma is back to work? See, that's another thing that we don't have a place
but
of
I
gathering.
think even fine, I understand people have work, people have their work, but it's just just the families coming together, like what you said, cookout, right? Families coming together. Doesn't matter what your background is.
That's right.
Coming together just because we are Muslims and we love each other just eat together and just the Prophet ﷺ used to say to Ali radiallahu, cut the kharoof or cut the lamb and invite the people, right? Yeah. And people just gather. People talk. Once there is food, there is just love.
That's it. That's love. That's right.
And that's because I want to eat with my brother.
Right.
And this environment that we need to create. And I agree with you 100%.
Period.
Question number 2. Any of the guys you used to hang out with, do they see how you have changed and have they started to learn about Islam?
Man, my friend, like a month ago, some of the guys that I grew up with, they haven't seen me in years.
No.
Yeah, because I ain't on Facebook, none of the social platforms. And a friend of mine came out of town. He took a picture, man. He said they went crazy. And one of my guys that's locked up, he's been locked up for like 30 years. He became Muslim.
Do you see them?
Yeah.
You don't see them
No, I don't see him. I talk to him on the phone all the time, and he became Muslim off that. And another brother, he became Muslim. He went to jail 8 years. He knew I was Muslim. He, alhamdulillah, brother. And some of the brothers is Muslim, man. And I don't know if I had something to do with it, but hey, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Because they always looked at me as the most intelligent, the most strong. I used to fight everybody. I whoop everybody. You know what I mean? So they used to look up to me. So,
by the way, you're a fighter. Right?
Oh yeah, I do Muay Thai, karate, judo, you name it, boxing. I do it all.
So you're good at breaking.
That's my thing. But I was good in the Dunya. But I'm saying,
you know what's up, man.
But I was good in the doom because grandma taught. So I was good with my hands in the Dunya. Yeah, I was good in the Dunya with that. So I always had that. That's what everybody know me for. Everybody know me for whooping somebody.
Know when you get trouble.
Alhamdulillah.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
That courage just don't exist.
Yeah. It's there.
How do you think we can counteract the image of the Muslim and liquor store owners against what Islam really is in the black community?
We got to speak against it, brother.
Yeah.
Ain't no two ways about it, man. That's haram, period. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? But, everybody chasing that dollar. So, you know what I mean? We just got to speak against it. That's not who we are. You know what I mean? So, and that's just what it is. We have to speak against it.
We have to go to speak against it.
Yeah, that's period.
Can you talk a little more about how it was being in jail and being a Muslim?
Well, man, I remember this lady had told me, she said, all that nigga need right there is a Quran. You can't hurt him.
In jail.
Yeah, she should say that to me. She's like, he can't, there's nothing you can do to him. You got his Quran, he's straight. Because I ain't worried about no guy, no guards or nothing. I remember one time when I was in grammar school, not grammar school, in the Adi home.
But what happened? You said, look, I wasn't worried about guards and all that. I mean, people, do they just panic? Do you see that?
It's only the strong survive, man. If you strong, you strong. If you ain't, you may be somebody's girlfriend. So, you know what I mean? It's just what it is. So it's only the strong survive. But in jail, people respect Muslims. They respect Muslims. They know Muslims is the truth. I don't care who you is. I remember this guy told me one time, he said he was going through the prison system and he was young. And it was this guy in this cell. He was swole, bigger than him. And he was like, hey, he found out who he was. He was like, hey, to the guard, hey, don't put him here. Do not put him here. And they found out the guy that was coming through the prison system was Muslim. And the reason why he was saying don't put him here, because he knew Islam was the truth. And he was a rapist. And everybody that came to his cell, he would rape them. But when he knew that guy was a Muslim, he like, hey, don't bring dude down here. I don't want nothing to do with that. So in the prison system, they know about Al-Islam. They know about Allah. You know what I mean? They know the power and the strength of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they don't even deal.
They know that
they know it's the truth.
No,
they know
I'm saying it's because the attitude of the Muslims.
They just know that everybody been exposed at some point to Islam as the truth. In jail, whatever it is, that's why they gravitate to it. Because they like, man, this is a beautiful list. You got to be kind to people and salam and it's gentle and be strong. You have to be strong. They know the truth. You know what I mean? A lot of times people just be following what their parents embedded in them. You know what I mean? And they won't stand up to their family. You know what I mean? A lot of times I known that, and a lot of times people just don't care. No, it's a lot of people that don't have no spirituality. They don't care nothing about that, man. You know, they get high, they drink, they carry on with all that foolishness. You know, brothers used to tell me, man, you don't drink, you don't smoke, man, I don't do none of that. You know what I mean? And they be like, man, how you self-medicate? I said, like, man, brother, I just pray, man. I do me. I run, I jog, I do the things that I like to do, man. But you know, that's the man, because they grew up in it. They see their mama doing it, father doing it, and that's their upbringing. You see what I'm saying?
It says, why is it important to develop ambition in the Muslim youth born in America?
Man, because you got to show them who they are. You know, you have to establish that type of. They have to be a little more aggressive, and they have to get out here and do a little dawah. You know, brothers and sisters have to talk about the greatness of Allah, and that comes from home, man. You know, how many children are really repeating what the parents are saying to them when they're in this environment? You know, they got the first somebody say they God, why you can't say yours? You know what I mean? So you got to constantly embed this in their head. You know what I mean? And it's kind of hard, because when they go in these school systems, there's no Islam. You see what I'm saying? And that be what it is. So you got to develop. I do this. I let my children speak their mind. When I come around and we sit, we talk, and I let them just speak their mind and tell me. My son was telling me, he said, Daddy, he's like, man, he was like, she did this, and he was telling on his sister and everything. And I was like, brother, I said, what you is, a tattletale, man? What you on, man? And so I just be talking to them, just trying to build their little characteristics up and who they are, you know what I mean? And try to develop them so they can interact. And so when I hear them talking about Islam, I'm like, yeah, he got it. So we're gonna follow this one today, or we'll let you stand up and say something about the greatness of Allah. You got to have these moments, man. You know, you got to have these moments. Even if you look, like on Saturdays and Sundays, I like to let the kids stand up and speak. You know what I mean? Tell me learn a hadith for. Tell me something about Allah. And it's your turn to talk, and I'm gonna just be quiet and listen. You know, you got to interact with them. You got to give them that. They got to make them conscious, and then it'll flow out of them, because eventually it will be second nature, and that's what's lacking, man. That's what's lacking, because they cut on the TV, they go to school. If it's not in the Muslim environment, that's it. It's wiped away.
There's another question, I guess, on the same line. It says here, in the inner city, do you think Islamic education is needed, or different types of support? Meaning, you know,
like what?
I don't know, maybe more nonprofits, more.
Man, whatever can be established, man. We need more Islamic institutions.
Do you think the community would support it?
Yeah, because they investment in their children. Yeah.
I mean, is that attitude, is it there, that if we do, let's say somebody serious wants to now say, look, I keep hearing brothers saying we need institutions. Do you really think that type of
it'd be supported? Yeah, it'd be supported. It'd have to be supported. I think it would, because number one, if your children, if we establish something, just say if just some brothers and sisters establish something, because a lot of times I know for a fact that brothers and sisters be looking for places to put their children to teach them about the Deen, and a lot of times they don't want it coming from people that can't speak their language. You know what I mean? That would be because they don't. It's the language barrier. You know what I mean? They like, I can't understand what this man's talking about, and you know, a lot of times these people don't really have the type of sensitivity, you know, that they need to engage with the people. So if we could just establish some type of like some type of individual or some type of education, so we can develop this with the people and interact, I think they'll gravitate to it.
So you need people who are from
the community, if we can, and establish or teach a few people, and it'll start to sprout. You see what I'm saying? Because I mean, outside of Juma, that's it. On the south side, that's it. You know, you'll catch. There's nothing else. You'll catch some brothers, you know, coming for the 5 daily prayers, but there's no. When we was little, Wajdi Muhammad used to teach. He used to teach Arabic classes, and the kids used to always be in it. He used to teach the Arabic language, and he used to teach the alphabets, and we used to come. We used to, after we finished, we'd go play. You see what I'm saying? So he used to teach that.
They set up. They bought the resources somehow to engage with the community.
Yeah. They engage with the community.
how do we make sure to push sisters to gain Islamic knowledge?
That's important. Start them as a babies, man. Got to start them young. You know what I mean? Just start them young, and that's why I was saying that the sisters has to have a platform as well by coming to the masjids. And that's not a lot of times that a lot of women don't come out. They stay in their homes and do Jummah. So, you know, you need the family, man. You need the family support. If the women and kids ain't there, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see the regulars that comes to the masjid. But you had a family come there, your wife and children come, you're going to come. You're going to come, and that got to be the platform. You know, everybody got this mentality when it comes down to the Muslim. Man, she's oppressed. Let's keep her at home. Now let the sisters come out. You know, let the sisters bring the kids. Well, it ain't no foolishness. Ain't nobody trying to talk to your wife and all that. You know what I mean? It's kind of controlled because there's a lot of that going on too. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's a lot of that foolishness, man. So, but based around that, if you get the women, you get the kids, oh man, the brother's coming.
So it's the last question. This is for me. So let's say, we always hear about brothers like Malcolm X.
Right.
We always hear that. Look at what Wadi Muhammad did or Malcolm X did. This whole Black Lives Matter stuff happened, and all this cops killing, all these things that were going on the last 2 years, right?
Right. And
all of a sudden, you kind of see that all of that just kind of melted down. You don't hear any of that anymore, right?
Yeah.
Where do you think, how do we bring about the next Malcolm X in the African American community? Or do we even need the next Malcolm X? Or do we just need a community?
We just need a community, brother. You know what I mean?
But where is that leadership? I guess that's what I'm saying.
Well, I remember Hassan told me, said every 100 years Allah revises religion. So he revised it with somebody here saying, but we got to create these thinkers, brother. You got to create them. You know what I mean? You got to create them. It starts with your son, your daughter.
I guess build them, they'll come.
Yeah, I'm for real. So that's just what you got to build, this type of platform and make them speak out and talk. You got to talk to them and interact with them. It's there. It starts with your own children, your own son and daughter. You know what I mean? And their friends, and how many times that you can let other Muslim brothers and sisters come over and children come over and interact. It's a lot of that's not happening. They interact with people that's not Muslims. You see what I'm saying? It's the family structure that we have. One thing COVID done is sent everybody back to the masjid. The masjid is home. And it made everybody put on hijab, the masses, and then it made everybody take wudu. Everybody. When the COVID came, everybody started taking wudu. Everybody's, you know what I mean?
Like it or not.
Alhamdulillah. So, that shows you the greatness of Allah right there. They plan to plan. Allah is the best planner. You see what I'm saying? Everybody wear hijabs. So they talked about the Muslim sisters and all this. Everybody got to wear hijab. You see what I'm saying? Everybody got to take wudu. You know what I mean?
We plan and Allah plans. Allah
Allah's the best planner.
Any last words that you want to say?
To the youth, hold on to the rope of Allah. If your parents instill this deen, take it and run with it. Learn what you can, because your parents' life is too short. Your parents may be gone tomorrow, and that gift that they give you is worth fighting for. So stay focused no matter what your trials and tribulations is, whatever you have to deal with, always put your trust in Allah, and Allah will take care of you. And remember that. Don't ever forget that. Allah is always watching. I'm a prime example. I'm alive. I ain't in jail. I've been locked up 25 times.
So how many years of life is
I've been locked up 25 times, and I got an expungement. So alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So what else? It ain't because I'm intelligent.
So 25 times what?
Everything, man. Everything.
I know I wanted to end this, but see, every time you say that, I'm trying to figure out how do we tap into that intelligence. African. Look, I look at, for instance, here, we deal with a lot of brothers and sisters coming from all over the world. So when I deal with a lot of Nigerian kids.
Right.
And it was only here when we started this program that I got to meet a lot of pure Africans, Nigerian.
Right.
And I realized that I did some research on these kids, and I found out that at one point, majority of the majority of the PhDs were coming from Nigeria.
Yeah.
It produced
these thinkers.
PhDs, bro. I mean, and you would see them in universities, right? A lot of times you see them teaching economics. Nigerians were specifically, and economics is not the easiest, one of the boringest things, and it's crazy. And these guys have PhDs, and so I mentioned that to them. I said, "Did you know that?" They said, "Oh no, I didn't know that."
They don't know.
But and you see the nurses, right? All these Nigerian, they get, and then you get exposed to brothers from Mali. You get exposed from the roots are there.
Right.
And Islam grew in Africa.
Yeah.
Islam supported Africa. I mean, Africa supported Islam when no one wanted to support Islam.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the first migration, when the Prophet ﷺ, before even Medina, the Prophet ﷺ goes to Habasha, this area, right? It was the Africans, pure Africans, that supported the Muslims when no one wanted to support, right? So there is a history, even to the point that Rasul ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ, if you go back to Hajar,
right,
she is an African woman. She is from Egypt.
Jairus, right?
I mean, do you think that this exposure, if we were to expose that, that ulama and prophets, the best of the prophets' mother actually is from Africa?
That's right. Well, a lot of them.
Do you think that would
make them gravitate and try to open it up?
What are we talking about, man? This is it.
Yeah,
Islam.
you people are great, right? Alhamdulillah.
Right. That means the major universities are in Africa. You're looking at Timbuktu. You're looking at Azhar. You're looking at some of the best universities are there all the way. Heck, even Islam reaches Spain, and it reaches because of Africa.
That's right.
Right. It's Morocco and Maghreb and Algeria. These areas. Tariq bin Ziyad was black, and and then Musa bin Nusayr is black. Dude, there is no. Is there? I mean, I guess when I'm saying that if this type of education is reintroduced, right, and if we are able to figure out to tap into that type of intelligence where somebody can read books just cover to cover, books that are 500 pages, I mean, it's amazing what African Americans can do.
Right. It's the history. It's the history that's lost. They don't know knowledge of self. They don't know knowledge of self. They don't know the greatness. They don't know the first people. It's a lot of times that people don't understand who they really are. And so they fighting against everything, trying to find out, because all this history is lost. When you see, a lot of times when people hear about Arab, they like, oh, that's an Arab religion. When they hear about Islam, that's an Arab religion, and so on and so forth. And they don't know that there's other history behind that. They don't know about Adam alayhi salam and Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Ibrahim was the grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and same fountain, just different mothers. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a lot. It's this information. It's this information that's lost. So they don't truly know the greatness. You know what I mean? Of their skin color. So this is lost, and this is what happens. So when you understand this, then you understand who you are and what you are, and what's your quest in life. You see what I'm saying? That's what's lost, man. It's the history.
So inshallah, with that,
alhamdulillah,
inshallah, that brothers and sisters, this is so important to understand. I mean, that there's a lot of things that we covered. I mean, subhanallah, and I think one of the major themes is that if you forget your history, that if you want a nation to forget who they are, then you erase their history.
That's right.
Right? You erase their history. Once you erase their history, then they don't know what to hold on to. Right? And this is something Malcolm X taught us. I mean, one of the reasons why we call him X, because he by just his name, he wanted the world to know that a history has been erased, and by erasing that history, we are erasing a whole nation's potential from their greatness. So, dear brothers and sisters, we really have a lot of work to do as Muslims, and I'm talking about Muslims. I'm not talking about here African Americans and Indian or Desi or Arab or such and such. All of that nonsense needs to be wiped out, and we need to come together as Muslims, and we need to work and understand the responsibility that we have in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us that tawfiq and those resources that are needed to make kalimatullah ila al-ulya. Wa jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Ameen.
يا إخوتي ماذا نقول أم حزننا جلب البكاء لصحبة أهل المحبة والإخاء عاشوا على هدي النبي يرجون رحمن السماء. يا إخوتي ماذا نقول؟ أم حزننا جلب البكاء لصحبة أهل المحبة والإخاء عاشوا على هدي النبي يرجون رحمن السماء.
يرجون جنة ربهم يوم القيامة والجزاء، يوم رهيب قاتل في لحظة حق.